It's the most beautiful evening here in the west of Ireland. It's about 8 o'clock or 8:30, something like that. It's been an extraordinary day. You can see just from looking at the sky with me. It's clear blue. There's not even a wisp of a cloud up there. Just clear blue. It's been very hot. But it's been a lovely breeze blowing, which has been welcome. And you can see the flowers coming out on the cotoneaster here. I think it's really benefited from that prune that I gave it during the, I think it was sort of late winter, early spring maybe. So lots of flowers on it, and I'm hoping that there's going to be masses of berries on it during the winter. That would be lovely. So I've been bucketing out water around some parts of the garden. I've had to just be quite judgmental about the water because I can't water everything, and the water barrel, well, it's about 2/3 full, so I want to keep a kind of a reservoir of water because it's hard to tell how long this patch of weather is going to last. It's promised to go into the weekend, and it could even go beyond that, because I was looking at one of the maps of the jet stream, and the jet stream at the moment is caught in one of those huge big wavy streams, and I think most of Europe is caught on the sort of upward part of the wave, so it's pulling all that hot air up from the Sahara up across Europe. Now I've heard as well that there's been a forest fires, I think there's 3 or 4 of them in Spain at the moment. So that's a wee bit disconcerting for the people living in and around that region. But the interesting thing about the forest fires, because remember last year there was fires in Portugal, and I know I've spoken about this before, but I think it's worth just remarking on it again. Much of Portugal was replanted with commercial crops, trees. I mean, trees being seen as commercial crops. Yeah, I sort of get that in a very small sort of area of plantation, you know? But what they did in Portugal, they brought in a really fast-growing tree, which I think originally came from Australia, which was the eucalyptus. And the eucalyptus, of course, is a massively fast-growing tree. Took to the soil of Portugal like a duck to water, and grew and grew, and became very popular with the farmers there, who planted massive plantations of them because it was a quick growing cash crop. And anyone who knows anything about the eucalyptus trees will know that they catch fire pretty quickly, because they have this beautiful sort of peeling bark, and it's quite an oily tree, the eucalyptus. In fact, we get our eucalyptus oil from it. And the bark, once it catches fire, you know, bits of it can fly off and literally act as airborne firelighters. Yeah? Imagine. So it should not come as some kind of a shock horror to the people of Portugal that their country is bursting into flames. I mean, literally was bursting into flames. The sad part was, of course, that there were people killed. And that really is putting profit before people. And here in Ireland we have a political group called People Before Profit. I think really that the governments of the world need to be thinking in terms of doing what they're elected to do. They are elected by the people, for the people, to protect the people and to be caretakers of the country. But it's not the case. I don't think it ever has been the case. I don't think it ever will be the case. So our reality does not lie in the political system, that's for sure. Personally, I don't waste much time on it at all. No, I'm just after seeing a beautiful little... Oh, it's just buzzed off there. I think it was a little horsefly on the Leucestria formosa. The horseflies, of course, only seem to have a very short time frame in which they sort of flourish, and it's usually from about just after the midsummer to somewhere about the beginning of July. It's a very, very short window from what I've observed anyway, and they seem to like that kind of rush of heat as well. I'm just looking up here at these beautiful flowers. This is a bush. It's an evergreen bush, and I don't have the name of it, but I'm sure you can check it out online. It's rather beautiful because, of course, being evergreen, it gives lots of protection, and then it has these beautiful flowers on it. And last year again I cut it quite a lot back down this way because it was growing out onto the driveway. So just walking very slowly down the drive because it's such a beautiful evening. And of course I can hear the wood pigeons. See all the different trees up there, look. So I'll just point them out. Birch, beech, willow, sycamore, birch, poplar, alder, there and behind. And then coming down the ways, golden leylandii, which a lot of people in Ireland will plant as a hedge, and it's just a monoculture nightmare. But as a specimen tree, they're quite valuable because, of course, they're evergreen, so they give shelter, and they also provide a very welcome habitat for birds during the winter. And then here, there's buddleia. And this buddleia, I've allowed it to literally grow completely wild. I very rarely cut it back or trim it, so it's allowed to grow in the same ways it would grow in the Himalaya mountains, which is where it originates from. It's very wind resistant, which is quite amazing because you'd think, oh, this is going to topple or break. It doesn't. It's very wind resistant. And we've got some flowers just beginning to grow on it. It'll be a few weeks yet before they're blooming. Well, a few weeks. It could just be a week. And then here, of course, lots and lots of the goat willow, which is sort of... Oh, there's a lovely little bird in there. It's a sort of backdrop hedge. See, the birds have become very tame. Look at this little creature. They've become very, very tame because they know, of course, I'm not going to harm them. So yeah, it kind of acts as like a backdrop hedge, but you can see on this side of the driveway, which is a very narrow strip, where I've planted so much into it. So this is a little birch, which is now going to go right up over the canopy of that goat willow. And then here, these are little western red cedars that I've grown from seed. And look, there's another birch, and then this is a beautiful sycamore here. And then below it then little pieces of box. And it's all very kind of higgledy-piggledy, but that will give you the most resilient hedge. Make it as higgledy-piggledy as possible, and have lots and lots of different trees and shrubs and ground cover, and just let it go en masse. And the great benefit is you don't have to keep it neat, because it's not all the same species. So you can see it a bit more luxuriant on this side. Look, there's that wee bird back again, look. It's a little nosy Parker. Little nosy Parker, yeah. Listening to me and watching. This side of the driveway is much more luxuriant because, of course, there's more land. It's going back the ways. So there's all kinds of shrubs and bushes and trees and ground cover, just masses, and it's a beautiful, chaotic, what words am I looking for here? Shambhala. I don't know. Is that a word, Shambhala? But it's so beloved by the wildlife, you see. So this is sort of wild edge gardening. Now I will have to get my little hand mower out, perhaps tomorrow or Saturday, and do a goodly bit of work here. Oh, what have I got on the screen? Is that a wee fly or something? Let me just look. It's a wee horse fly. Go away with you. It was peeping in at you. Or maybe peeping in at me. So, oh yeah, look at this. So this is the vetch. Now this is the yellow vetch, which is absolutely beautiful. The bees adore this. Now for the first 10 or 12 years or so, all there was purple vetch here, but now I'm getting this beautiful yellow vetch, and that's just gorgeous. And here's another gorgeous creature. I haven't taken him for a walk today because it's been too hot. And what I might do now is go back up to the house and fetch a little cardigan or something and take him for a bit of a dander. Just in the evening hour, it's a lot cooler. So, what I described in the planting, of course, I've just replicated all the way down the driveway here. And the usual thing, the more species you pack in, the more species will actually come and join what you've done. That's been my experience. And you can see, look at the ferns here and the raspberries coming up. And willow, no, that's willow herb, I think, and dogwood and fuchsia. And I'm just looking now. That's the cotoneaster. That's the purple beech. But look at what's coming through there, and I'm just going to do a close-up. Fuchsia. Isn't that beautiful? That must be 15 foot high. Isn't that wonderful? Easily 15 foot high, because I can comfortably stand underneath the cotoneaster, and I'm 5'5", I think. I used to be 5'6". I've lost an inch. This is beautiful. Crazy amount of flowers on this. Just look at that. And these were literally little cuttings that I put in. And you know where I got, well, I sort of collected fuchsia from all over the place. I think this one here, I collected this from Kilronan Mountain. It was growing up on the mountain, and I thought, oh, this will be a good hardy breed. And of course it is. I mean, just look at that. And the flowers are just like ballerinas. There's the boy down there at the gate. Jack, come back up here. Come on. Come on, good boy. Good boy. Ha ha, you're the fine boy. You are, yes. You're a fine boy. So we'll walk back up. Come on, Jack. See, the pondweed has taken over the pond, and the level of the pond has dropped quite low. But this is what happens every summer, and towards the end of the summer then I get in there and sort it out a bit. Do a bit of housekeeping. I quite like that. I sort of go in at the time when nature's beginning to do her own housekeeping, you know. So I sort of go in and I work in tandem with her, and it's rather lovely. It's a beautiful sun up there. I think I'll take you up through the trees here. No, Jack, we're not going that way, we're going this way. This is beautifully cool in here. Oh, I heard a little bird in there. See, even the little birds are going right down onto the coolness of the earth, under shrubs and ground cover and such like, just to keep cool. All this beautiful shade. I think that people are beginning to realise Not just the importance of trees, because few people care about importance of anything, but they're beginning to realise the importance, the relevance, shall we say, the relevance of trees and what trees do for us. And of course, standing here in this lovely cool part of the land, where all the air that's filtered down through the trees has been cooled by the trees, you begin to realise just the value, the importance of, the relevance of the trees. Of course, as a realist, I can say without a doubt that most people and most communities will only come to that realisation when it's actually too late for them. Now, you know that I've let this little bit of lawn go wild because I've planted some more trees into it. Look at what's come up here. Another beautiful little orchid. So this little piece of lawn is now in beautiful transition into woodland. And over the coming 2 or 3 years, all the grass here will disappear and it'll become a woodland floor, much like this is in here. See, this is a woodland floor. Isn't that beautiful? I'm sure you can almost feel the coolness now in here. I mean, this is heavenly. It's heavenly. I think this truly is the other world. You know, the other world that I talk about and that's written about so much in the old tales of Ireland, you know, the other world and the fairies, the She and all the various entities that live in this natural environment. I think I'm standing right in the middle of it. The other world is there. You know, the Celts believed that the other world was just on the other side of a very thin veil, and that it was quite possible to lift the veil and go through, or to see it. And in a way that's so, almost like a metaphor for the consciousness. Our consciousness is so heavily programmed with fear that we don't dare step over into the other world. But the energy in here is gentle and it's nurturing. It's like a green womb. And at this time of the day, you know, as the sun is beginning to set, but it's not quite set, there's a very strong sense of betwixt and between. I know some people have suggested that I get one of those GoPro night camera things. I would never do that. I would never intrude into the environment of other things. It's Escalonia. Look, there's another ash tree growing out from the hedge. Now that's something that I'm going to, when I go into the cottage now to upload this video, I'm going to write down a few notes because I've just remembered something that I think is very important to tell you, and I'm going to make a video about it tomorrow. Look at the beautiful shadow on the toadstool of the ground elder. Now this ground elder is regarded as almost like a toxic weed, but the Romans grew it and used it to treat gout. I personally think it's a beautiful flower. And like all the other plants and creatures at Bealtaine Cottage, it's allowed to have its day. Because why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't it have its day? I don't want to control anything. And if I tried to control it, I'd never get to see beautiful images like this. Or share them. So tomorrow's video is going to be about the ash trees, and it's something which is quite spooky in a way, because it was something that I recalled from the very first days at Bealtaine Cottage. And I think what's happening now with the Chalara attacking the ash trees, those thoughts are becoming manifest. And this has happened again and again and again at Bealtaine Cottage, that my thoughts become manifest. And there's so many different thoughts on that I'd like to tell you about as well. Because sometimes I feel as though I'm going backwards and forwards in time. But tomorrow's video hopefully will help to illuminate that. Look, the bees have been busy. I'm going to have lots of beautiful berries on the cotoneaster on either side of the front door. That's lovely. So the video is going right up to half an hour. Now usually it cuts out at half an hour. And there's the white valerian out. That's very beautiful. And another little tree. Look, it really has grown, this little birch tree. It's taken off. Beautiful foxgloves. Just when I think I've seen all the beauty, something else just pops up in front of me and reminds me that I've seen nothing.